kid, emotionless on the sidelines. I mean, just stoic. Can you show us something? Unbelievable.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Weekdays 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on SportsGrid, Sirius XM Channel 159.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Have you ever noticed small sparks of static electricity when you pull apart adhesive tape accidentally stuck together? New American Chemical Society research lighting up 300 LEDs by harvesting useful electric power from ripping apart regular store-bought plastic or aluminum tape. A device converting mechanical energy into electricity is referred to by physics as a triboelectric nanogenerator. Intended for wearable electronics, possibly in the future, triboelectric nanogenerators might even enable small, portable medical devices. Powered by ripping off a Band-Aid. Follow me at G. Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
Even Indiana won this weekend.
That's a huge quad one win for the Hoosiers. Jerry Palm had them as the first team out. Everybody says they have this big game in Eugene against Oregon. They're not beating Oregon in Eugene. Let me tell you what, they're going to fly out there and get their ass beat.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Days are getting cooler and shadows are getting longer.
You know what that means? It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
All right, here we go. Carver and Lisi with you. SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159. Great to have you with us on a Wednesday night on the grid. Very, very busy. Of course, if it's Wednesday, that means it's Carver and sometimes Lisi. No Joe tonight. Out on assignment. He will be back tomorrow, so flying solo here this evening, and we've got plenty going on. There are tons of games, huge college basketball night, lots of NBA, including this Boston-Detroit game. We'll see what Detroit is made of here. For a big test for them as they've been playing some great basketball. Only 3 hockey games, a little disappointing. And we do have the Cognizant starting tomorrow for the PGA. It is a Golf Wednesday. And we're going to be continuing a little Golf Wednesday action as well here on the radio side. Because if Joe ain't going to be here, well, I'm going to do more golf. That's just kind of the way that things are going to go. First hour, Jerry Palm, CBS Sports. We're getting into March. It's bracket time. And we'll talk about some games tonight with some significance with Jerry. Brady Cannon with us later this hour. We'll do some Golf Wednesday, get some of his picks for the Cognizant. And then gentleman George Kurtz will be by in the second hour. We'll do some pucks, some NFL stuff, and other things with George. So a very full night for us here as we get things cooking. But like I said, lots of games. So let's see where we're at right now with a few of them. And we will start with the college basketball because there's tons of action this evening, and some of it fairly significant. Maryland now down 3 at home to Michigan State. Now, Maryland, this got all the way up to 4.5 right before the game started, and they're down 3, just under 10 minutes to go in that game. That was a 6:30 East tip in College Park. So 39-36, Sparty with the lead over the Terps. UConn up 11 in Hartford tonight against Georgetown. Struggled a little bit in the first half. They're starting to open things up a little bit here. I did like the fat number with Georgetown tonight. But I did not get involved in that one. Elsewhere, Notre Dame down 10 at Clemson. Clemson up 41-31 at the half. I'd expect more of that in the second. Notre Dame stinks, and Clemson's been playing some pretty good ball. Other games that matter going on right now. Vandy had a double-digit lead in College Station against Texas A&M, but they gave a lot of that up right before half. So 34-32, they lead the Aggies by a deuce. In the locker room now at halftime, -5.5 live for the Aggies. 143.5 is the total in that game. UCF up 7 now, at the half against Kansas State. Auburn came out to a huge lead against Ole Miss. I mean, they were up like 20. Ole Miss got the game all the way back, down to single digits, and then a little spurt by Auburn before the half gets them back to 10. So 50-40, 10-point lead for Auburn. I am involved there. Do have the 13.5 with Ole Miss this evening. Live numbers 14.5, so we could use a little push. Hopefully Beard gets the Rebs going here at the half, and Ole Miss can get themselves back in the game and hang around a little bit. Dayton up 3 on Rhode Island. Good game in the A-10 tonight. That's at the half, 33-30, -5.5 for Dayton live. Other ones that of significance. Not really anything else live. Memphis just started against Rice. They're up 4-1 first minute of the game. But we have plenty coming up. Indiana laying 5.5 at home against Penn State tonight. Villanova, 7.5-point favorites in Newark against the Pirates of Seton Hall. Kentucky, short favorite on the road in Oklahoma, coming up at the top of the next hour. Virginia at Wake Forest. Wake Forest needs as many wins as they could get, and they're 6.5-point favorites. Big number for Creighton, 15.5. Lots of big numbers tonight. Arizona, 14.5. Texas, -2.5. Arkansas, -2.5 against Texas. Stanford, a big number. BYU's 5.5 out against Arizona State. Ohio State, 1.5 point. I like USC tonight, by the way. Musselman and the Trojans against the Buckeyes there. And Utah State getting 4.5 at Boise. Good game in the Mountain West this evening. So you have, like we said, tons of college action that we are going to be involved with as we continue to move on throughout the course of the night. As far as the NBA goes, good one in Detroit. Pistons, as we know, have been outstanding, red hot. Celtics, best team in the East, best team in the league. Whether you talk records or not, doesn't matter. They're the defending champs. 55 apiece at the half here. This Derek White with 4 threes. The Derek White threes got locked on a couple sites about 20 minutes before the game tip. And I wanted to get in because last night we hit him for 5. I wanted to go back to the well, and they weren't letting me do it. Pritchard's got 4 as well, so he's off to a nice start. Meanwhile, for the Pistons, 10 for Cade Cunningham, but he's 4 for 12 from the field. So he's hacking him up tonight, but he's not making many. Also has 5 assists there. Beasley's got 12, including a couple threes. So he usually brings him some pretty good fire off the bench. Pacers up 51-41 on the Raptors. That's at the half right now. Halliburton had gotten out to a fast start, and he had a great half. 17 points, 5 threes for Halliburton in the early going. Couple threes for Miles Turner. That was 10.5. Similar number the Raptors had last night against the Celtics. They covered it by a hair. We'll see if they can hang around in Indiana. The Knicks smashing the Sixers right now. Sixers look awful. 57-41. Knicks are up. 19 for Bridges in the first half. I think he hit his first 6 shots. He's 8 for 11 here in the first half. Brunson's added 11 as well. 17 for Kelly Oubre for the Sixers. I know I saw that big Paul George. He's going to stop doing his podcast to focus on the rest of the season. I mean, Paul, you couldn't wait till the team got 20 games under 500? Honestly, you're 20-37, shutting down the podcast now. That had to come from somebody else. Telling PG-13, can we chill with the podcast? Talking about the rest of the league. The guy's scoring. He's got 6 points tonight, 2 for 8 from the floor. Looks like he's very focused.
Mike, he never stopped doing the podcast during the playoffs with the Clippers. Do or die games. He was doing the podcast talking about what he was trying to do better.
He was doing so. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a subscriber to the PG-13 podcast. So he was doing that with the Clippers in the playoffs. He was doing the podcast.
Oh yeah, man, and it bugged the hell out of me. I didn't even listen to it. I would just get these things on my feed of Paul George talking about what went wrong in last night's game. And I'm just thinking, man, what would Kobe be saying? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, going on social media and talking about you're in the playoffs right now.
It's not ideal. I'll tell you that. It is not ideal. whatsoever, and I don't get it. But for it to just randomly come out of nowhere right now, that tells me it was asked of him. Can you chill out with the podcast? Could we finish the season? We're going to finish 20 plus games under 500. Maybe we could just wait a little bit. You've been awful. We're paying you like $50 million, $60 million this year. Maybe you could just chill out a little bit with the podcast.
Paul George was also the one that talked about the bubble. It's like, the reason the Clippers fell apart in the bubble with Kawhi was because mental health. They couldn't handle not seeing their family. But he
still belly aches that they don't like him in Indiana. He still belly aches about all that. So he likes to bellyache, PG-13. Matthias is here tonight, so we will have plenty from him as well this evening. I'm sure there's got to be some. Who's fighting this weekend? I can't wait to see this. Fight night. Where are they at here? Now they're.
You got to pick it from the bunch. You got to pick it from the bunch, Mike. You got to pick it from the bunch.
Oh my goodness! Is this? Is this the one where they? This isn't the main. This Cape. This ain't the main event, right? Who's the main event in this fight?
Yeah,
on
it
Saturday?
Is. No, I think it is, Mike. Yeah, I think it's Manal
right.
Cape. Yeah.
Well,
it's soft.
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're just getting going on a Wednesday night. We're back after this.
I just jumped on State, -1.5 over Maryland.
And now, for your listening pleasure, we give you SportsGrid summed up in one single symbolic sound effect.
Get it?
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
Carver and Lisi.
So
I don't
go
know
ahead
if
and
she's
say what it is. Instead of just
whoa!
Drop it in there. What is it?
I won't be treated like that on half of my show with Sometimes Lisi.
What is it?
So Mary Kate Cornett from Oxford, Mississippi, apparently cheated on her boyfriend with the boyfriend's dad, and it's making the rounds. I'm just saying, that's what we got right now.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Weekdays 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on SportsGrid, Sirius XM channel 159. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
When the weather cools off,
Major League Baseball playoffs heat up. Sit tight. The World Series is coming. Keep it here for every bit of the action with strategies and information to give you the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi with you. Well, Carver, this is Wednesday, right? So it's Carver, sometimes Lisi, here with you on the grid, Sirius XM 159, as we're rocking with you. I'm watching this, and by the way, that's pop, they consider that? The generic pop open that you just threw me there?
Yeah, pop genre, it's under pop.
Just, if there's a folder that just has like rock, you just play that one. Just play the rock one. They have one. Something like Or something funny. Like that's just painful, that one that you played. Like I usually don't since we got the real music taken away, I haven't bellyached too much about the rejoins. But I will with that one. That one stinks. Don't play that one anymore. That one
no EDM.
I don't even mind
no
EDM. That was like that was just strange. It was bizarre. There's some EDM I don't mind, but I'm not getting involved there with what that. I like the one later, the ones I usually play like at the end of this hour, the beginning of the next hour. There's like the beach blanket bingo and the.
The beach blanket bingo's next.
It always feels like somebody's watching me. That one's always thrown in there too. All right, so Auburn up 10 here. We're going to be sweating this 13.5 with Ole Miss, probably the whole half, as they've been trading punches here the first 2 minutes. And hopefully we can get something cooking. There's 12. Ole Miss needs to make some buckets. See, they're running up and down the court with Auburn right now. I know that's their game. They like to play fast, but I don't know if I'm all in on them doing that here. I think we need to slow down and try to get some buckets, maybe get a couple of stops on the defensive end. That would be more ideal for me. I don't think I got through all the NBA because Matthias dropped in that Paul George note to me. But Nets are up 4 on the Thunder. Nets were getting, like, depending on when you got it, 16.5, 17.5 tonight at home against the Thunder. And they're up. You get the Thunder minus 10.5. There's 8 minutes left in the half. Let's see where that one's at halftime. Let's see where that's at. That might be one we want to keep our eyes on and maybe grab the Thunder at some point if they continue to kind of go through the motions here with Brooklyn, because eventually you'd like to think they're going to blow by them. They did reach the half at the Garden, 61-45. Knicks lead the Sixers. So gutless effort once again from the Sixers. And the Sixers are one of these teams that they have completely shut it down. It's over. They want nothing to do with the rest of the season. They can't get to Cancun fast enough in 6 weeks. Sixers, Hornets. Seen the Hornets the last 3 nights? Last 3 games, I should say. They've lost by 50 plus, 40 plus, 30 plus. They want nothing to do with the rest of the year. The Bulls are in there. You know, Pharrell was saying, hey, we should put the Spurs in. Because that's probably how it's going to go for them now with Wemby not playing the rest of the year. You see, there's a few other bad teams, but like they kind of give you efforts every night here or there. Like the Jazz suck, but they cover sometimes. They give you efforts. Toronto sucks, but they cover a ton of games. You know, the Pelicans, now that Zion's kind of playing again, and they've gotten a lot of the rods. Remember, the Pelicans got buried the first 2. They're not an awful team like some of these others. The Pelicans got buried because nobody played the first 2 months, and that completely buried them. And now that they at least have a couple of their guys back, they're competitive on a nightly basis. Competitive.
I think Washington sucks.
Yeah, Washington sucks, but I don't believe that they go out there every night and they just give you nothing. I think they lose every night because they just purely have zero talent. Like they just have nothing. And now they traded for a couple older guys with Smart and Middleton. But like I feel like the Sixers are out there and they're just not trying. I think the Bulls are out there, they're just not trying. I don't know if I could say that about Washington. I think that they just suck. I think there's a difference. You get what I'm saying, Matthias? I feel like you could be two ways to be
I get what you're saying. Absolutely. You know? Philadelphia is like a dumpster fire because there's talent, but they suck. Like they don't,
They're awful.
Toxic locker room.
They are absolutely awful. They are pathetic. What's going on with them? And now Embiid's probably never going to play again. And it's just going to be a real ugly finish. And that Nick Nurse, man, he should thank his lucky stars he had Kawhi Leonard for 1 season. He should thank his lucky stars that he had that. Because he made a lot of money and a lot of rep off of that 1 year. And I think he's done an awful job with Philadelphia. You want to tell me Embiid's always hurt? Fine. You want to make that the reason? They still have other players that are pretty talented. George, Maxey, etc. And they suck. They just look completely lifeless and gutless. every single night. Not going well here. Auburn has now stretched this to 13. They're on the line to make it 14. So we're going to need Ole Miss to show. I mean, and they've extended this, and there's 17 minutes left in this game. There's a lifetime left to go here in this Auburn-Ole Miss game. But Ole Miss they can't get any stops right now. Can't get any stops moving forward with this. So we'll keep our eyes on that. And the other game. So Michigan State now up 6 on Maryland. What did you go in on? You took Michigan State live. What, Matthias? You told me you took Michigan
I got them at
State.
-1.5. Yeah, so I got them at a good price, but they were up by 9. So Maryland's actually cut into this lead now, and it's 48-52 now. 4 minutes to go.
4-point game.
They're coming. They're coming.
Texas A&M is now past Vandy. So Vandy had a pretty good lead in the first half there in College Station, and the Aggies have now blown on by them for it. You still have St. John's, Butler, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Utah, Arizona, a couple of others that are going to start. We're going to get into a couple of these games later with Jerry Palm and have a couple bracket questions for him. We've got Brady Cannon later with the golf. We're in Cognizant this weekend. Let's go, baby. A lot to do. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM. Back after this.
It's dead simple. Listen to SportsGrid is smart. Don't listen to SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. It should be obvious. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Moneyline.
I now have realized it's one of two teams, but it's probably the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Gotta be the Steelers. Stafford is a quarterback that's supposed to put you over the top. You look at the Giants, like, they're over the top of, like, the dumpsters where they're going, like, right into the trash can, like, if they get him. But, like, the Steelers, legitimately, like, they are just missing, like, a functional quarterback to push the football downfield.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1989, the Dallas Cowboys fired Tom Landry after a 29-year career.
I'm not better. That's just my nature is not to be better. You have to judge people as to how they operate.
Landry led the Cowboys to 2 Super Bowls in the 1970s and 13 division titles while in Dallas. But new owner Jerry Jones gave Landry the boot after a 3-13 season in '88. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. It's Carver, sometimes Lisi tonight. Joe out, I'm in. Solo, we have a lot going on. Jerry Palm this hour, Brady Cannon, George stops by, gentleman George Kurtz, in the next hour as well. Hit Burbell is here, as we have a lot cooking, tons of college basketball games, a lot of NBA, and the golf, which I'm very excited for because, as you know, I love the golf. And I love the Florida swing, and that starts tomorrow. And I feel like that's where it really starts to get cooking. It's a great month in Florida. They go from a PGA National, formerly the Honda, now the Cognizant, to Bay Hill for Arnie, to the Players, which of course is like the 5th major, they love to say, and then to Valspar at the Copperhead there. So it's a really fun 4 weeks, and when you get through that, the Masters is just, it's right there. First major of the year, as the azaleas will bloom in Augusta for someone else this year. Can't wait for the golf. So lots of picks with Brady later. Michigan State extending back to 7 now. Might even be more because Matthias is probably ahead of me. The bad news is that Auburn is now up 16. So we need Ole Miss to hang around a bit here. And hopefully they're going to be able to do that. As far as they've started the second half in Detroit. And how about the Pistons, who are up 71-63 on the Celtics? So how about Detroit, who comes into tonight on a 7-game winning streak? And listen, they haven't, they've beaten a few teams, not the best teams in the league. A lot of Hawks, Bulls a couple times, Hornets, Sixers. They've gotten fat on this winning streak with some of the work. They beat the Clippers on Monday, and the Clippers are a good team. But this is some test for Cade Cunningham and the crew tonight, and so far, they're passing it. Now, if you're not a believer and you think that will not last, well, here's the good news for you. You can get Boston now plus money to the money line, plus $1.12. Get them plus 1.5. They're down 7. Lifetime to go. Under 7 minutes in the third quarter. I'm going to hold right now. I'm going to hold and see. I did say we needed to get to the end of the half for the Nets and the Thunder. 6-point game. Nets are still up with 4.5 to go in the half. If the Nets are up 6 at the half, Matthias, we got to take the Thunder in the second, right?
Yeah. No, we should, because if we don't, I feel like we're going to be biting our tongue for not doing it later in the show. That's what they do.
Even
that's what that team does.
If it stays 6 points in the next 4 minutes, it'd probably be a little less than 10.5. 10.5 down 6. They score so quickly. It's not impossible.
Or taking Shea Gilgeous over points, whatever his point total is, if they're down, because he's going to have to score in the second half and take over.
He's usually a pig when that stuff starts, right? He's got 8 right now. He's light. He's got 8 points. It's funny. He's got 8 points right now, and he's still minus 400 for 25. So they're not even. You're not.
Yeah. That's because
you can't even get it. He's still minus money for 30. He's minus 120 for 30 points. That's how fast he scores. That they have those numbers like that. Unbelievable. Really is. 20-1 from to score 45. Have a 30-point half. Why not?
This Michigan State team up 4 with a minute to go. Maryland has the ball. Crunch time right now. Maryland has the score. Oh, timeout.
I would turn that on, but Joe claims that when I turn games on now, I kibosh it for people. So I'm not going to do that to you.
I don't believe in any of that nonsense.
Man, what happened to Georgetown? Georgetown they were within single digits of UConn a few minutes ago. I got to see what happened here. Is this right? 93-77 now. What kind of run is this? It was 76-67 with 6:27 to go. And UConn has just completely blitzed them here over the last 5 minutes. And they are now up 16. Oh, that is brutal. You had 16.5. See if Georgetown can somehow still get that cover. It's a deserved cover for Georgetown to see if they can cross the line. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159.
Congratulations. Another day above ground. Might as well make the most of it. Get the winning edge. Sports gaming strategies and information. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The
Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal, not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
Right before your very eyes, the boys of summer are about to become the champions of fall.
MLB playoffs are coming.
And SportsGrid will bring you all the angles, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
It's a little hot, so we should all have Mai Tai.
Heck, we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. Here with you on a Wednesday night. Of course, Carver sans Lisi, Joe out on assignment. So solo mission tonight. So solo mission, we get other people involved. And of course, we always love Jerry Palm, CBS Sports bracketologist. And it is that time of the year, baby. Let's go. March is this weekend. We only have a couple weeks left in the regular season. Championship week, NCAA tournament. We're less than 3 weeks away from Selection Sunday. Jerry, great to see you, as always, my man. And let's get right into it. I'm watching a couple of these games right now. Ole Miss trying to hang around with Auburn. This Michigan State-Maryland game coming down to the line. What's the biggest game for you tonight in terms of maybe it's the bubble? You know, Indiana's got themselves back on after beating Purdue. They got to take care of business. This Boise State game tonight with Utah State is huge. What are you keeping your eye on the most tonight?
Texas and Arkansas, because those are two teams right around the cut line, and their resumes are pretty tight in terms of similarity. Arkansas is in the bracket at the moment. Texas is out. And the reason for that primarily is because Arkansas won at Texas the first time that they played. Now they're playing at Arkansas. Texas trying to return the favor and split that season series with both teams winning on the road. And that could put Texas back ahead of Arkansas. And Georgia's in that mix as well after the win over Florida last night. So those three teams have been kind of going in and out of my bracket, not the same teams in and out among that group of three in any consecutive bracket I've done in about 3 weeks. But, those are the three SEC teams right around the cut line. So when two of them are playing each other, for me, that's the game of the night.
That's a massive. You're right about that, because there's so many opportunities. And it's funny because Georgia, massive win last night against Florida, which I saw bump them up a little bit in your bracket. They still have more work to do, but it was a nice boost for them getting that win. And I saw Calipari bring this up over the weekend, and it's so true. The great thing about that league is you're going to get so many opportunities to play in these games that can push you across the bubble. But the bad side of it is you're going to play in these games that can, against these other teams that need it so bad too. That's why I think this SEC tournament that's going to come up in 2 weeks for all these teams, Georgia, Texas, Arkansas, they're going to get opportunities there to maybe get another crack at an Auburn or an Alabama or a Florida. Huge couple weeks for these teams.
Yeah, but they need to finish well enough so that they don't have to win like 3 games in that tournament just to have a decent enough resume to be selected. So none of these teams are really in a position to go on a, lose 3 out of 4 skid down the stretch of this season. And it's not going to be easy for any of them. Texas is playing 3 of the other bubble teams. There are 5 actually in the SEC. We've talked about 3, but Oklahoma and Vanderbilt on the right side of the line at the moment, but also bubble teams because of the schedules they have left to play. And there's just no guarantee with, 3 or 4 games left, 3 after this week going into the weekend, that they're going to win enough games where they don't have to do something miraculous in the conference tournament just to be an at-large team. So, yeah, it's going to be nerve-wracking in the SEC, but Calipari's right. This is a better opportunity than being in the ACC where nobody has a chance to improve their resume unless they beat Duke. And Clemson and Louisville are good teams too, but they don't have enough games left to play all those teams. They're lucky if they get one of them at this time of year. And the lack of competition in that league, if you're trying to make the bracket, you'd rather be in the SEC, even though those are dangerous games. You're not making it without those games.
Indiana, of course, has now kind of played themselves back with some wins the last few weeks against Michigan State and Purdue. And they're about to start right now against Penn State. I got to tell you, Jerry, this is the type of game, off a huge win against Purdue, I'd be nervous tonight in Assembly Hall if I was an Indiana fan, because this is the type of game where I could see them not take care of business and mess around with Penn State at home.
Well, and that's been why they're a bubble team. It's not really the talent. They've got guys. It's just been the inconsistency of, intensity, I guess, that they bring to the game. They're not always locked in. Now, if you play Purdue, you're going to be locked in, right? Because it's a rival. Yeah. But it's the other games. I mean, they won at Michigan State. This is a team, if you beat Purdue and you can win at Michigan State, we should not be talking about you as a bubble team. But we're talking about you as a bubble team because you don't take every game seriously enough. And so if they need to do that, Penn State is good enough to beat them if they don't, bring the proper respect for their opponent, a proper respect for the game and the intensity that this is the Big Ten. You better show up. And Indiana needs to do that. And if they show up, they start showing up 5-6 games in a row, this is a team that could make the NCAA tournament and be underseeded compared to the level of their ability, but then be dangerous in the NCAA tournament. But I'll believe it when I see it because we haven't seen it all year.
Me and Pharrell were talking about this yesterday on Coast to Coast. If St. John's were to finish off this Big East regular season title, win the Big East tournament in the Garden, can they get as high as the 2 line?
Yes. Yeah, they could. I mean, it depends on what other teams do, of course. But yeah, they certainly would be part of that conversation, I'm sure. I don't think they can be a 1. I don't think they played a good enough schedule outside the league to be a 1. In fact, until they beat Marquette early February, I want to say, they didn't have a win over a team that was likely to make the tournament. So, so they've got a gaudy record, but they didn't really get to prove it till they got into conference play. And that's why their ceiling is limited. But yeah, 2, I think, would be in play depending on what other teams do. But I think it's the ceiling for St. John.
What did the Florida loss? I saw in your column today that the Florida loss knocked them off the 1 line for you. Who did you move into the 1 line?
Houston. And Houston is kind of another team that's had to prove itself late because they didn't have, it wasn't quite as bad as St. John's, but they didn't have the usual non-conference schedule. And I think there may have been a couple of teams on that schedule that end up disappointing and making it look worse than it might have been. But Houston has been the dominant team in the Big 12 this year. That's a pretty good league. And I think that if Houston wins out the regular season, wins the conference tournament, or maybe even just gets to the final, depending on what other teams do and who their competition is, that's probably a number 1 seed as well.
Michigan hit a half-court shot at the buzzer to beat Maryland.
Michigan State?
Half-court. Michigan State hit a half-court shot. Maryland had tied the game at 55. Hit on Michigan State, hits a half quarter, 58-55. Sparty gets the win in College Park. And I saw you move them up to the 2 even before this tonight, right, Jerry?
Yeah, well, what happened last weekend, I did a bracket on Friday. The top 6 teams in that bracket won. Only 3 of the next 14, that's all the way through the 5 seeds, only 3 of those teams won. One of them was Michigan State, and they ended up moving up from a 4 to a 2, in part because of what they did over the weekend, but in part of everybody else just losing. And, sometimes when everybody loses, nobody loses. And, only half of those teams changed seed lines at all. So, it really was more shuffling than anything, but Michigan State had, by virtue of having won, had some room to move up, and they did.
Is there any? I've only got like about 30 seconds left. What's the one conference that's going to surprise maybe with 2 bids? Or get that extra bid? Is San Francisco going to get in out of the WCC? Provided everyone, the chalk wins in their conference tournaments. Is there any low, mid, major that's got a chance to sneak in?
Well, the multi-bid leagues are the West Coast and the Mountain West. I don't think any of the other leagues are going to put another team in. But if it does happen, it's going to be the American, because Memphis is an at-large team. They're the only one in that league. If they get upset in the conference tournament, that league will put 2 in. That's probably the only league where that can happen.
Jerry, tremendous job as always. Jerry Palm, CBS Sports. March almost here, baby. We love it. We're back on the grid right after this.
The way we see it,
you have a choice.
Depend on luck and be occasionally humiliated, or use strategy and win. We suggest strategy. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Sports Rage Tonight.
Logan Thompson didn't play for Team Canada in the World Championships. And Team Canada are very spiteful. I think almost too much so, actually, because I don't think they have enough room for air to be that sort of arrogant with everybody. And if you don't play for them, when you get knocked out of the playoffs and you don't answer the call if Team Canada asks you to play in a World Championship, you've got an uphill climb to make Team Canada when it matters.
It's Sports Rage Tonight with Gabe Morency. Weekdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal, not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Chicapalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime, on the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
No way football is playing in the fall and winter
because the hits don't hurt as much
when you're numb.
Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Yeah. And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159, here with you on a Wednesday night. Carver sans Lisi. Joe out on assignment. As we know, Wednesdays now are Carver and sometimes Lisi. That's what the show is on Wednesdays, and we'll get him back in a few weeks, of course. So you know how I do it on Wednesdays on Coast to Coast, Golf Wednesdays, as we get ready. And now, because Joe's going to leave me on Wednesdays for the next few weeks, we're extending Golf Wednesdays to the radio side. And I can't wait because I talked to Brady when we do live on Coast to Coast, and now I'm going to get Brady's PGA picks as we get ready for the Cognizant this week. It'll always be the Honda to me. Brady Cannon with us. Hi, Brady. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. I love this new development. That is awful accommodating of Mr. Lisi to go AWOL on Wednesdays the night before a golf tournament starts. Let's do this thing, man. That's perfect.
It is perfect. And getting right into it, I love, listen, we love all year round. Me and you are sick. Cam's sick. We love that. We love every week. So this is great for us no matter what. But the Florida swing, for me, Brady, it's one of the best months of the year. I love all four of these tournaments: PGA National, Bay Hill for Arnie, the Players, Copperhead with the Valspar. They're tough tracks. It's tough courses. It's March. Your Masters is right around the corner. The juices really get flowing here, Brady, as we hit PGA National this week.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm from the West Coast, so I love Riviera, and I love Torrey Pines, and I love Pebble, and there's nothing better than, flipping the calendar to January and checking out Kapalua. But yeah, there is no doubt about it. These four courses, this might be the toughest stretch on the PGA Tour calendar. You've got PGA National, extremely difficult. Bay Hill, we know how tough that is. The Players is certainly one of the hardest courses on the circuit. And then, you know what? Innisbrook might be harder than them all. I mean, this is a real test. And I also love the fact that I think this is also the time where the Players really say, okay, we're almost to the Masters. This is where I try and flip the switch. It is all systems go towards Magnolia Lane from here on out. So, the West Coast is kind of like the warm-up. We get ready, the new season. Now we're full on fledged in that March for Augusta at this point.
And especially now, Brady, with how they've changed everything, if you're a guy who's either not played a bunch of tournaments, maybe just the signature events, and maybe you haven't played well even if you had played a lot, the way they have it structured now where the top 50 by the Tour Championship, you're talking about a Ryder Cup year with Ryder Cup points. If guys haven't been playing well, now's the time when you really got to start to put the foot down a little bit. Like, I got to get some points. I got to get up in the standings. I got to get – because that top 50 is so important now for the following year. You can't – I mean, some of these guys getting bit. The Michael Kims and the Maverick McNeelys all getting a lot of points here to start the year. The Fitzpatricks and the Omas and other guys, they got to get to work.
Yeah, how about Xander Schauffele? I mean, he still ranks very high because of what he did last year, and I don't know if he gets any sort of exemption or anything like that. He's supposed to show up next week. That's what I read yesterday, that he's going to try and make a comeback next week at the API at Bay Hill. And I think he took a little bit more time off. He felt like he probably could have come back maybe a few weeks ago or so, but he said, I really didn't want to rush it at all and cost myself another 6 to 12 weeks. So I think he took some extra time here. And I think he even, if I recall from what I was reading, I think he even mentioned Augusta. Like, there's no way he can miss that, right? So he had to take extra precaution here and extend that time off maybe another 2-3 weeks. So he is just absolutely 100%. So I think he'll be okay. But that's going to, what do we do next week? My initial reaction, Mike, would be a fade on Xander.
Yeah, he won't be on my card next week, Brady. There's no way. I can't. And look, he's a guy that I generally don't back anyway. I just don't like rooting for Xander. I mean, I kind of liked him a little more after he won those majors last year. You saw a little bit of a different side of him after those, but he used to burn me so much in the past. You know how it goes, Brady. Some guys get you a lot.
He was forever a bridesmaid, right?
Right. So I kind of drifted away, and it's almost the opposite of what Spieth's doing. Spieth wants to play weeks like this week because he's trying. He keeps bringing up Augusta. I want to be at my best for Augusta. He's coming off the wrist surgery. He's played a little bit. I couldn't believe, Brady, he's never played the competitive PGA National. Honda, now Cogs. It's the first time he's doing it. And I'm interested. His numbers are pretty hefty this week. 45-1, some 4-1s for top 10s. Some pretty good Spieth numbers out there if he plays well.
You know what? And people are backing him. I got a report today from BetMGM that he is their second biggest liability.
Wow.
Yeah, so people are happy to see him here. He has played well the last 3 or 4 years, it seems, at Phoenix. And you may recall he really turned around his season a couple of years ago. I think he shot a really low round, a 60, 62, 63, something like that at Phoenix. And all of a sudden, it really turned his entire season around. Played pretty darn well there this year as well. And that is absolutely a ball striker's course. And that's really what we have for the entire Florida swing. It is all about ball striking, and PGA National is no exception. So, I mean, hopefully, Jordan really hasn't been known as an exceptional ball striker. I mean, it's the short game, the wizardry around the greens. If he can get his irons on fire, then yeah, he's going to be ready for Augusta.
Brady, we will come back, and in the short segment to end the hour, we will get your selections for the Cognizant. We're going to find out. I know I already read your article from earlier in the week, and I know me and you, and I believe Keith Stewart was today as well. We are on the Irish Bear this week.
Oh,
as
good.
You should be. 3 straight top fives at this event. Brady, I still can't believe he lost that year when Straka won, and he's standing on the 17th tee when that storm came through and they stopped the tournament with the last 2 holes. I can't believe
Talk
Lowry
about a
didn't
bad
win that.
beat.
Oh, my God. So, you know what? And that was the year Berger was up 5, and he completely went in the tank on. So, this is always a wild tournament. Brady Cannon, we're back. Picks for the Cognizant after this.
It's a harsh world out there. Get the SportsGrid mobile app and take all that sweet, sweet winning edge with you.
Download today.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
One of the great joys in life for me is seeing the Sixers season implode before our very eyes on a daily basis when they never win. And they're paying Embiid the kind of money they're paying him. I've even heard people say that he's about to have knee surgery and they're going to wrap it all up. It's over. Glad bag time.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts, in-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more, all in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime, on the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Get sports gaming strategies and information 24 hours a day,
7 days a week.
Everything you need to get the winning edge.
Right here.
All the time.
No wonder the wife says you never listen to her.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
There it is, Matthias. There it is. Matthias spinning the tracks tonight. It always feels like somebody's watching me. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159 here on a Wednesday night. It's a Golf Wednesday radio style with Brady Cannon as we get ready for the Cognizant. We were just talking about this off air, and I'm going to bring it up to you and then give me your picks. I can't remember the last time we had a week where the favorite was not under 20. Like even in the jabroni tournaments, Brady, like Mexico and others, there's a 12 or a 14 or some. Obviously, when Scotty and Rory play, we've got guys in single digits, but the favorite being at 20, 22 to 1, and then a bunch of other guys in the 20s. This is very rare what we have this week.
I totally agree with you. And it's a little bit of a shame because back when this was the Honda, I mean, you used to have some serious fields here. A lot of the European guys would take the West Coast swing off, and this would be their first tournament. Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton, all these guys. This would be the Ernie Els back in the day. This would be the first time they showed up on tour. Now, like we've talked about, there's not a ton of star power in this field, which is a little bit of a shame, but it's very interesting from a betting standpoint. I feel that we're going to probably get, an Austin Eckroat, a Chris Kirk, a longer bomb. I think that's more likely. You've got just a handful of guys, Sun J.M., Shane Lowry, Daniel Berger. There's just a handful of guys in that 20 to 1 neighborhood, and then it falls off a cliff and everybody else is 50 to 1 or better.
It's hard, man. Everybody's on Daniel Berger this week. I mean, a lot of people are on Berger. Let me know who you have, of course, starting with, as I mentioned before the break, the Irish Bear, Shane Lowry, a place he always plays well.
Well, the Irish Bear indeed, and I have 7 picks this week. 5 of them are longer shots, but I felt I had to play a little bit up towards the top of the board. I had to get one of the big names involved on my card, right? And so I went with Lowry. Mike, there's a ton of crossover here with the British Open. Ernie Els, Rory McIlroy, Padraig Harrington, Ricky Fowler's played the British extremely well, Adam Scott, Mark Calcavecchia. So there's a real connection here between British Open success. And of course, Shane Lowry has won the British. He's played here 7 times. He's never missed a cut. He is actually the best player in this field over the last 36 rounds for the entire Florida swing. He kills the Florida swing, and maybe it has something to do with the fact that he lives here. He plays difficult golf courses very well. It's something about Shane Lowry. He gets fired up for a difficult test of golf, and I just had to go that direction. And then I went with Taylor Pendrith, who I think is an up-and-coming star. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy is contending for major championships in the next 3 years or so. He's got his first PGA Tour win. He's had 5 starts this year, already a couple of top 10s. He is money off the tee, and he can putt. He's 7th in this field for strokes gained putting on Bermuda grass. And then I went with Nikolai Højgaard, another guy that is just money off the tee, great with the irons. If he can find a hot putter for a couple of days, I think he is absolutely live. And then the rest of my card really is just absolute ball strikers. Mike, JJ Spawn. I mean, this guy doesn't do much of anything else besides ball striking. Number 1 in this field for ball striking the last 36 rounds. Got him, and he's been playing well. Got a 3rd at the Sony, which I think is a correlated course. Wall-to-wall Bermuda, exposed to the wind, narrow fairways. You see a lot of crossover success with the Sony and the Honda. So JJ Spawn, who finishes 3rd there earlier this year, he makes my card, as does Nico Echeverria, who lost in a playoff at the Sony earlier this year. And by the way, the Zozo Narashino in Japan is another correlated course for me, where Echeverria just won. Back in October. This guy's got 2 PGA Tour wins in the last 2 seasons. That's more than most people in this field can say. And yet he's at triple digits. I got him at 100 to 1. And then finally, a real long bomb. And Echeverria, another guy who's a local resident, who's played here as a junior. A lot of Florida roots on my card as well. Taylor Pendrith lives right here in Palm Beach Gardens. Ben Coles at 200 to 1, a really long bomb. Lives up in Ponte Vedra by Sawgrass. He's played here a number of times. And all the stats I was looking at, he just kept popping up. Deadly accurate off the tee, 15th on tour in ball striking. Last 36 rounds, he's 4th in this field for good drives gained. Number 1 in hole proximity. This is the most difficult course on tour, Mike, for approach shots from 150 yards or greater. He's number 1 in this field from that distance. Ben Coles.
Brady, I love it. I have Pendrith and Højgaard on my first round leader card. I got a couple of your other guys in there. Let's have a big weekend in Florida. Florida swing. Brady Cannon, we're back on Seated Up. Carver and Lisi, no C2C right now. We're back on the grid.
Even if the last thing you played was the radio, you can still be a sports gaming legend. Just keep that radio tuned to us.
Get the winning edge.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal, not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1989, the Dallas Cowboys fired Tom Landry after a 29-year career.
I'm not better. That's just my nature is not to be better. And you have to judge people as to how they operate.
Landry led the Cowboys to 2 Super Bowls in the 1970s and 13 division titles while in Dallas. But new owner Jerry Jones gave Landry the boot after a 3-13 season in '88. For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
You're listening to where real winners go for actionable insights and expert perspectives on daily sporting events.
7 days a week.
It's not a secret or anything.
I mean, we have a promotion budget for Pete's sake.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen,
please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
All right, here we go. Carver and Lisi with you. Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. Great to have everybody with us here on a Wednesday night on the grid, hour number 2. Carver sans Lisi, Joe out on assignment. He'll be back tomorrow night. Great job there by Brady Cannon with the picks for the Cognizant. I'll give you mine as well in a couple of minutes at some point this hour, probably in the back half of the hour, because we're going to have Gentleman George coming up in the next segment. And I want to it's been a while since we checked on everything going on, so I want to do that as well. So let's quickly dive into a few things here. First of all, the Pistons are up 18 on the Celtics. They're going to win their 8th in a row, and by far their biggest win in that 8-win run. Now, look, I know Celtics were on a back-to-back. They played in Toronto last night. Pistons are red hot. 20 they're up now, 110-90. What a performance by Detroit. Beasley's got 6 threes. He's on fire. Cash that for the 5. Portland and Washington. Portland's up 6, 96-90. They just started the fourth quarter there. Pacers now up 13 on the Raptors, about midway through the fourth. Early fourth, Knicks now only up 6 on the 76ers. So the Knicks were smashing Philly before we were talking to Jerry. It was at the half. And now we come back a little while later, and it is a ball game again as the Knicks now only up 6. Meanwhile, the Nets still up 10 on the Thunder. A lot of time left here, Matthias. And now it's Thunder minus 3.5 instead of 10.5.
The time is now, Mike. You right? You know,
it
you
kind
want
of
to dig?
feels like it. You know. Like,
how many points does Shea have? Because if he's having a bad game, I would.
He's got 16.
Let's go.
I'd almost rather play Shea for 35 at plus 275 because if they were to come back and tie or win this game, he's going to score 20 more points in the second half.
Exactly.
He's absolutely
That's
gonna.
why I wanted it. Yeah.
You know what? I'm doing that. Let's do that, Matthias.
I'm down.
Let's go
I'm
SGA
down.
for 35. It's dropping, as I said. It was I got to get in. It was 275. Now it's 205. This is going to continue to drop like a rock. So,
He probably scored that, so he probably got 2 more points.
Yeah. So let's
do it.
Get
I'm going in. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Let's dance with the devil.
SGA. Let's dance with the devil, he says. Let's dance with the devil. And of course, I got to be a total pig. I've got to get some other stuff in with it. Can't just play it by itself. I've got to. Let's do a Brady pick there. Who would Brady have on the that I like? Actually, I wanted to get a Gary. I think I have a Gary now. I got so many golf tickets here with this. Put it with the golf the last couple of days. I can't even keep track of it anymore. Honestly, Matthias. Too many tickets going in right now. I did want to get. Let me get in here.
Let's put it with the Kings. I love the Kings tonight at home against the Canucks.
The Kings.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm a Ducks fan too, but these Kings at home, they're nasty. They score goals.
Kings are 19-3-2 at the Staples. There you go. Crypto.com arena. So far
I love it though. Staples. What a memory. The purple lights. Oh, the Staples.
All right, I'm in for SGA for 35. So let's see if we can get that across the line. Now, as far as the college goes, Auburn completely smashing Ole Miss. I mean, they are up 20. I'm trying to do the math here. They're almost up 30. They're up 26. Completely smashing them. Vandy up 8 on Texas A&M with under 3 minutes to go in that game. They're underway, Utah and Arizona. That's very early on. Dayton up 6 on Rhode Island. We'll see if they can close that out. We did have some finals. Syracuse won tonight. Wow. UConn beat Georgetown 93-79. So no cover there. The 16.5 Georgetown. That was a deserved cover if you had Georgetown tonight. I know UConn had a late run to put it out of reach, but Georgetown played well. Clemson beat Notre Dame by 15. Michigan State beat Maryland by 3. I was saying to Jerry Palm at the end of his spot, it was tied at 55, and Holloman on Michigan State with the half-court buzzer beater to get the job done for Sparty on the road in College Park. Good win for Michigan State. A couple games left tonight. St. John's Butler's about to start now. Kentucky, Oklahoma going to start now. That big Texas-Arkansas game going to start now. Later, 10:30 East for Utah State and Boise. Ohio State and USC. I like USC tonight. San Francisco's at Oregon State tonight. San Francisco is one of those teams I was talking to Jerry about that has some work to do. We'll do some hockey with George when he comes in. There's only 3 games tonight. The Jets are going for 11 in a row, and they're up 3-1 going into the third against Ottawa. Still have Devils, Colorado, and Canucks and Kings, as Matthias mentioned. Kings at home tonight, and they have been outstanding at home, 19-3-2. We'll see. But Vancouver's a pretty good road team, Matthias. That's the one thing I'll say to you. Pretty good road team. Pretty good.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't like the way that they started off after the break, and I don't think it's gonna get any better tonight in LA against a team that's hot right now with the Kings. Right now the Kings isn't a team I'd want to attack, especially even at home. The fact that they're at home gives me more confidence because they're rolling. Before the break they played the Ducks, and the Ducks beat them in LA. But I gotta say, the Ducks were on their heels the whole night, and it took a Dostal, Hall of Fame type of game in order for them to win that game. But the Kings, they lost that game, but they were rolling before then. And, they're rolling now after the break. I was wondering how they were going to play after this whole Four Nations Cup, and they came out hot again, just same style of hockey. This Kings team is hot right now. Like I said, I'm backing them. I like them.
He's backing him. He likes him. We'll see what George thinks when he comes on. Vandy looks like they're going to win here at College Station. Vandy's got some really good wins this year. They're only going to be 7-8 in the SEC. Remember, it's the hardest conference in the country. But some of their wins have been pretty damn good. They beat Ole Miss. They beat Texas. Who else have they beaten here? They beat Tennessee. They beat Kentucky. And then you add a road win against Texas A&M on there as well. That's a resume booster. As we were saying, it's the hardest conference. You got plenty of opportunities to get yourself some quad one type wins that can boost you on the bubble. But you also you play a lot of teams that could finish you off. Vandy has Missouri, Arkansas, and Georgia to finish the year. Two of those teams right on the bubble with them. Arkansas and Georgia. So good stretch finishing up for Vandy. I think Vandy's is the safest out of those three. Georgia's still got a lot of work to do. See what Arkansas can do tonight against Texas. I kind of like Texas, to be honest with you. Really do. All right, we'll come back. We'll get Gentleman George in. We'll see what he likes in these hockey games and a few things from the Combine with him. Some stuff makes you scratch your head. Like, Matthew Stafford going basically fishing in Montana with Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers wants to play at the Rams. He's calling the Giants. A lot of everybody thinks they should be the first pick in the draft. A lot going on down in Indy. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Back after this.
Ever heard the saying, if you want a friend, get a dog? Think of us as a trusted companion that fetches odds, gaming info, and more. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Sports Rage tonight.
Logan Thompson didn't play for Team Canada in the World Championships. And Team Canada are very spiteful. I think almost too much so, actually, because I don't think they have enough room for air to be that sort of arrogant with everybody. And if you don't play for them, when you get knocked out of the playoffs and you don't answer the call of Team Canada asking you to play in the World Championship, you've got an uphill climb to make Team Canada when it matters.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Weekdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime, on the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
You're listening to SportsGrid, raising the bar on your sports gaming by giving you rock-solid strategies, news, and information.
We are your unfair advantage.
Isn't it time you made more trips to the bank between paydays? This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
We're back. There it is, Beach Blanket Bingo on Carver and Lisi. SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159. Oh, that's a classic that Matthias breaks out. That sounds just like the 60s movie, Beach Blanket Bingo. with Frankie Avalon and Annette. That's what it sounds like. All right, we're here with you on a Wednesday night. We're having a lot of fun. And it's always fun when gentleman George Kurtz, stops by as well. George, great to see you, my man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Like on a nice random Wednesday night here, late February. I hate this month. I look forward to February ending, but it is what it is, Mike.
It is what it is indeed, George. Why don't we start here? Because I got a bunch of things we're going to do here over the next couple segments. Number one, we do this. Me and George have been together a lot lately. The schedule with the NHL is so stupid. They come back from 2 weeks off. They play tons of games Saturday, Sunday. They play 2 games on Monday night. They play 3 games tonight. Can we balance it out and put 6 and 7 games on every night? We just try to find a way to put a bunch of hockey games on every night. But they're not going to do that, George, for us. I can already see. But they do have 3 tonight. Winnipeg's going for 11 in a row. They're up 3-1 on Ottawa. I just saw as they were starting the third period. Not sure if that's changed. I'll check in a moment. And then we have 2 late night games, which both are pretty good. You know, you have the Devils in Colorado against the Avalanche, and then you also have the Kings at home against Vancouver. And as me and Matthias were talking about before, the Kings are 19-3-2 at home this year. Been a dominant team at home at the Crypto.
Yeah, the score between Winnipeg and Ottawa has not changed. 3-1 Winnipeg there. I mean, Ottawa had several players out tonight. No Brady Tkachuk. He's still banged up. He's out. Josh Norris was out as well. And somebody else who I can't remember right now. So it was a pretty easy choice there to go with Winnipeg. I'm actually a little surprised this game's as close as it is. So, go Peg for their 11th in a row here. The other 2 games, listen, we all know why, Mike. There's only 3 games tonight, right? It's TV. They bow to TV. It's TNT night. Right, TV's got the.
Why do they not have a doubleheader tonight, George? Why do they not have 2 games? Why did they? They only have the Vancouver LA game tonight. They always have 2 games on Wednesday nights.
I agree with you. I was surprised by that as well. Why you wouldn't have Winnipeg, Ottawa? I guess they cover. I didn't see what they're covering.
Can't put 2 Canadian teams on TNT, George. You can't put 2 Canadian teams on TNT.
That's in the contract, actually. If you read the TV, it actually says that. TNT will not put 2 Canadian. Now, I don't know personally why they didn't do that.
Unless
I imagine they're showing
Toronto. Unless it's Edmonton, Toronto. Then you can. For McDavid and Matthews, you could do it then. That's the only time that you could have 2 Canadian teams on. I like this Colorado Devil game a lot. I think the total's a little light. I know that the Devils have had some ups and downs. Colorado has as well this year, but anytime I can get the amount of firepower that both of these teams can bring, George, I'm in for an over.
I agree with you. Colorado gets Nichushkin back tonight. All right, he came up the IR earlier today. He may not be the all-star player here, but he's a very good player, and they need offense. They've been struggling a little bit here. I'm on you with the over. And listen, I don't think the -118, a little annoying, but I don't think that's terrible. I'll take that there. And remember, no Markstrom, he's still out there. I assume Jake Allen's going to start in net tonight. So, yes, give me the over. I really want to take I haven't done it yet, and I'll have to do it by the end of this segment here. I really want to take the Devils at plus money because I don't know if I really trust Colorado. So I'm leaning Devils here on the plus money. You're going to get plus money with the Devils. I'm probably going to take it here.
Yeah, if I had to lean to the side, George, I think it would be Devils. I'm just going to try to go after the total in that one. I think that's all that I'm going to do. But I would lean Devils if I had to go that way. What do you like late night? Because I think the Kings are very tough to go against after that record that I just gave you. But Vancouver's actually a pretty good road team. They're better at road than they are at home so far this year. So if there's a team that could go in there and maybe get a win, it might be the Canucks.
Well, it surely wasn't the Vegas Golden Knights, right? They got blown out the other day. Actually, it was in the Fortress, I think, by the Kings, 5-2. Kings are a better team than we probably give credit for. In Vancouver, they're playing a little bit better. We'll find out now. I know I checked earlier today. It was still 50-50, and it still is as far as Quinn Hughes playing tonight. I don't think he's going to play. Personally, I think he's going to miss another game here. I'm going with the Kings. All right. It's a little bit above my comfort level at -166, but listen, I'm a -160, 165 max guy, so I'm all right with this. I don't love it. I don't love the Devils or Colorado enough to put it in a parlay. Don't love the Kings enough either here, but I have a small play on the Kings. I kind of want to lean towards the under, Mike, but I thought that with the Kings in Vegas the other night too, and I ate it on that one. So I may stay away from that tonight. But once again, I do like the Kings. They play too well at home here. I want to take the under, but at minus 142, I cannot do it. Probably just going to leave the total alone.
I was just checking the latest. They haven't obviously gone out for the pregame skate yet because it's an after 10 o'clock face-off. But he is a true game-time decision tonight, George Hughes. He's a game-time decision. He skated this morning at the morning skate, and they are waiting to see how things go in warm-ups to get Hughes out there. So hopefully he is. Hopefully he plays, and you can get him back in the mix for that. As far as everything else, I'll ask you this quickly. Can you believe that Waugh and the players last night on the Islanders actually talked like they lost the game 2-1 in overtime when they lost the game 5-1 and were never in the game? Can you believe that they had the stones after the game to sit there and try to say, oh, we played really well tonight? You lost 5-1. I don't care what kind of fluky goals the other team scored.
I think that's what they're relying on there, right? The bottom line for the Islanders is always the same. Yeah, they outshot the Rangers 2-1, but they don't have finishers. Right? They get all the shots in the world. You're not going to beat Shesterkin clean for the most part here. You don't have guys who finish. And that's been the story for the Islanders for years here, right? It's the same story every game here. I think you and I are in agreement here. The Islanders need to trade away. Nelson has – I like Brock Nelson, but he has to go. Palmieri has to go. Right? I agree. Completely agree here. And by the way, they have extra defensemen now, right? And defensemen are valuable. Trade some of those guys away too.
Do that too. I would strip it down to the studs. All of it. Everything must go, and that includes the general manager. Get him out too.
Oh, right on board with you.
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. George hanging with us. We're back right after this.
SportsGrid is your source for sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
We're always here,
waiting on you to decide to win. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal? Not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1989, the Dallas Cowboys fired Tom Landry after a 29-year career.
I'm not better. That's just my nature is not to be better. And you have to judge people as to how they operate.
Landry led the Cowboys to 2 Super Bowls in the 1970s and 13 division titles while in Dallas. But new owner Jerry Jones gave Landry the boot after a 3-13 season in '88. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
Even Indiana won this weekend.
That's a huge quad 1 win for the Hoosiers. Jerry Palm had them as the first team out. Everybody says they have this big game in Eugene against Oregon. They're not beating Oregon in Eugene. Let me tell you what, they're going to fly out there and get their ass beat.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network. When you're a SportsGrid listener,
you have an advantage.
We bring you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7. We call it the winning edge. Everybody else calls it Stop messing around. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. George Kurtz hanging with us here as we're doing some pucks, and I've got some NFL stuff for him. George, Winnipeg now has their second double-digit win streak of the season. They are now, let me just make sure I give you the right numbers here. Winnipeg is first in the NHL, now only by a point. They have 85, Washington has 84, but they are 9 points clear of everyone else in the Western Conference. Dallas is second at 76. And actually, when they get this, George, they'll be 11, right? Because they're going to win tonight, and they're going to go to 87 points after this game. So they'll be 11 points clear of everyone else in the Western Conference. But yet it still seems, George, like the books or anybody else, I don't think they believe it. They're still 11-1 to win the Cup. I can't remember a team so dominant, having a dominant regular season. And I know these, we've had some instances of these great teams losing in the first round because the NHL playoffs are so unpredictable. But 11-1 for a team that's been pretty good, and they've had their problems, Hellebuck, in the playoffs. That's still a pretty juicy number, George, for a team that's going to be the 1 seed in the West.
The problem is, being the number 1 seed doesn't really get you anything great. All right, maybe the first round a lesser opponent. I get it. You don't get a bye week, or anything like that. So, and you already said it. I mean, we've seen this before with Winnipeg, where they have great regular seasons, but they don't do anything in the playoffs. And the same thing could happen this year. I mean, they may play they could play Colorado round 1, and they got housed by Colorado last year. All right, and the West is rough. Colorado,
Destroyed.
Vegas, Edmonton, Dallas. I mean, all these teams are legitimate contenders here, and you think Winnipeg's going to have to go through at least 2 of them. Until they prove it, until they beat somebody, I'm going to have a tough time trusting this team.
The hard part is like you said, they'll get someone in the first round, Calgary, Vancouver, Utah, whoever gets that last wild card spot in the West, and they better beat whoever that is after the regular season that they're having. They better. But then they would still have to get to the final, beat, I would say, Dallas in the second round, because I think if Dallas could beat Minnesota, I feel, if they play them in the first round. Dallas,
Agreed.
and then either potentially Vegas or Edmonton in the West final. And that's if Colorado doesn't, as the number 1 wild card, screw up the other side and go and beat everybody over there and then play out. So the West is a very rough road, but I still think 11-1's a pretty. See, the Caps too. They've moved the Caps to 11-1 also. Caps and Winnipeg have been way down on the board, and now they've both drifted into the 5th and 6th slot on the big board.
I mean, the other comparison I keep making, I compare Winnipeg to Dallas, right? The great regular seasons, don't do well in the playoffs. Yeah. And Washington, I keep comparing to the Minnesota Vikings. Great regular season, going to lose first round here. It'll depend on who they play in the opening round. Right now it would be Columbus. I do think they'd beat Columbus. But if the Rangers can get their act together, Washington got to play the Rangers in round 1?
Rangers could beat Washington in the first round. Yeah. I mean, it's true. They could absolutely.
How about Ottawa? I'm not a healthy Ottawa team. Scrappy, got some players. I want to see the moves these teams make at the trade deadline in 11 days.
I will say, and I've got. We put this in a couple months ago here. We have Columbus to make the playoffs at plus 560 from back in December or January or something. We put that in. Columbus has this little bit of magic carpet ride, George. Obviously, the Gaudreau tragedy, and though they play so well at home, they've got that little something right now that if they got in, I don't know, maybe I think the East is wide open. I know Florida's very good, and they're the defending Cup champs. I've told you a lot. I just am not betting on them to go back to the finals for a 3rd year in a row. I think it is way too difficult. I can't do it.
I kind of like the Devils, man. The Devils can get their act together as well here. Markstrom gets back in net here. I think this team is full. Maybe get another defenseman at the deadline. Hey, if Rantanen doesn't want to stay with Carolina, they trade him. That's a difference maker at the deadline.
George, you're going to stay for one more because I didn't do any NFL with you. One more for George Kurtz. Come back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio 3.
Loser is kind of a mean-spirited slur, but it doesn't have to stick. Tell them to listen to SportsGrid and fix it.
No, thank you.
Later. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
Carver and Lisi.
Just tell me how a team is going to lose by 30 at home. How does that happen? I've seen Florida State play, too.
There's no doubt about that.
Hamilton, I told you they could have stolen his dog and his car, and he still wouldn't have cared. Motionless on the sidelines. I mean, just stoic. Can you show us something? Unbelievable.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Weekdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On SportsGrid, Sirius XM Channel 159. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. There's something you should know and always remember. SportsGrid does not increase luck. We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck, go find a horseshoe. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159 here on the grid. George Kurtz is with us as we're doing a few things here. The Knicks are trying to lose to the Sixers, 106-102. They were up like 16-17 at the half, and they're trying to blow that game. What a shame that would be if that happened. All right, George, I'm going to finish up with you with this. How into this week of, which, by the way, they've now, I said this to Joe the other night, they have now extended this dopey combine to where it feels like it's a month long with everything that they do. I mean, it used to be like 3 or 4 days. You know, the guys showed up, they ran them around the place, and everybody went home. Now it's like every day, George, you're sort of like, this day's just the DNs, and then tomorrow we'll bring the safeties, and then the next day we'll bring the wide receivers. They've stretched this into like a 2-week marathon. They've got 2 days of all the coaches and the GMs at the podium. It's like, I get it. It's the NFL. They've turned it into a TV product with NFL Network. Watch all day long. How into the running around in shorts in Indianapolis do you get, George?
The underwear Olympics, right? It's really what it is. I never understood, Mike, why when they're like with the running backs and wide receivers, why when they're running, why aren't they carrying a football? Never understand why they're not carrying a football. That boggles my mind here, especially a running back. I guess a wide receiver, fine, he's got to catch the damn thing more than run with it. But I don't know. Listen, if I'm around during the day, is it on? Sure. Is it appointment viewing? No. All right. It's like watching spring training baseball. All right. I'll throw on MLB Network and throw a game on. Sure. Why not? But I'm not looking forward to watching St. Louis and Minnesota play at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a random February Wednesday. No. I said, it's football. So we do want to keep up with it and fine, but it's the underwear Olympics. Not so sure how much it matters.
I mean, they've even got. I can't believe they have odds for this. Who's going to run the fastest 40 time? They have odds for this. Arian Smith plus 280, Isaiah Bond plus 310, Tex Johnson 10-1, Jimmy Horn Jr. 15-1. You can get in on who's going to have the fastest 40, George. It's got to. Thank God they found a way to have a betting angle for the Combine week. At least everybody, that.
If it was a quiet night, by the way, if there was nothing going, if they would have done this last week when there was no hockey and nothing, you probably could have convinced me to do it. All right, but this week there's stuff to bet on. No, I do like that one event where they got to jump and hit those things. How hard they can jump and hit those little things that move. I kind of
the vertical.
Yeah, I like
jump,
that
vertical jump they get up and do. So there's been a lot of talking over there this week. Let's do this one because I thought this was the funniest of today. I love this whole Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, who wants to take the old quarterback, who wants to. Now, at one point today, McVay was speaking and he said, I want Matthew back. My number one priority is him to be the quarterback of the Rams. Well, then why is he on a fishing boat with Tom Brady in Montana last weekend? Like, why are you allowing him to talk to the Giants and talk to the Raiders and talk to the Steelers? Why are we allowing this if you want him back so badly? I guess that means, George, the only thing I could decipher from all this is that Stafford told them he don't want to be back. Well, I don't understand why, if McVay wants him back so bad, why is he on a fishing boat with Tom Brady in Montana?
I mean, I agree with you. I guess there's nothing wrong with finding out what you can get for him. Hey, if the Giants want to pony up, or the Raiders want to pony up 2 first-round picks, including a top Giants third, Raiders 6th, fine. I'll see what's out there. I think it's idiotic. I think it's idiotic for either team to sign Stafford. Stafford's 37 years old. The Raiders and the Giants aren't within 2 to 3 years of competing for a Super Bowl. It'll take a little longer than that, boys and girls, especially if you're giving up first-round picks. Doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess there's nothing wrong with McVay letting it see what's out there. I mean, Stafford wants to get paid, right? He made $27 million last year. He wants pretty much double that. He's going to want a 3-year, $150 contract with, I don't know, $80, $90 million, $100 million guaranteed. That's what he wants. Do I think he'll get it? Yeah, I do, from somebody. If I'm the Rams, I'm probably ponying up for it. I find it hilarious that Rodgers wants to be with the Rams. Of course he does. Out of all the teams, it's the team that has the best chance to win. Of course he wants to be there. And you got Nakua, you got a running game here. So, yeah, but if I'm McVay, I do not want the Aaron Rodgers circus coming to town here. I'll stick with Stafford easily, but neither one of them is going to play 17 games next year.
I think it would be if they're actually going to let him get hanging out with Brady on the boat's probably.
It was an accident. He just happened to meet in Montana.
Yeah, sure. Like Pharrell said today, you let Brady sink his teeth into him. That's going to be where he's going to want to go. He don't want to go to Vegas and be with Brady. But the problem is, George, is Vegas sucks. The team sucks. That's just how it is. So if you're Stafford, I get you've won already. Is money the most important thing? Where you play, or is it trying to win one more? Because I think the only place he can actually do that is where he is. I don't think he's going to go anywhere and actually win. Now, the Rodgers angle of this, he wants to be in LA. There was another story today, I don't know how true it was, that people called the Giants to let the Giants know that he'd be interested. And great Gary Myers, longtime New York football columnist, Hall of Fame voter, etc. I thought he had a great tweet, George, to sum it up. He said, there's a better chance that Phil Simms or Eli Manning is the Giants quarterback next year than Aaron Rodgers. So I agree with him. I don't think there's any way in hell that Aaron Rodgers is on the Giants next year.
Listen, I don't think Stafford's on the Giants. It wouldn't make any sense here. Listen, the Giants are years away. The Giants, Raiders, they're the same problem here. If Stafford goes to the Raiders, or Aaron Rodgers, by the way, Mahomes, Herbert, Knicks, you're not winning with that team there just because you're going there. And I said, Aaron Rodgers wants to go back to New York. No, it's not going to happen here. I don't think anything happens as far as the Giants and Jets are concerned. The Giants are going to end up taking a quarterback the third pick if they can, assuming that maybe Cleveland or Tennessee doesn't. They have to. If they want to guarantee, they have to.
They want to guarantee. Now, I think they'd get one anyway. I don't think that, because I think this guy in Tennessee isn't taking a quarterback. Listen, now, how much can you really decipher of what they're giving you in Indianapolis? Probably not much. But I don't think it sounds like he wants to sign a quarterback and take Carter or take Hunter or take some high. I don't think these guys are worth the first overall pick.
No, they're not.
I don't think they're worth it. We've seen a lot of.
But they usually are, Mike.
Yeah.
When was the last time a quarterback was actually worth the number one pick? Andrew Luck? I mean,
yeah, I mean, look, when if you look at it, right, when you talk about no doubt about it, taking a guy, there's very few guys that are taken first overall that it all went, it's Manning, Peyton Manning. I mean, you could even say Eli because he won 2 Super Bowls. Luck obviously quit early, but Luck was great right out of the gate. So it's a rare thing. I mean, it took Baker a while. Trevor Lawrence hasn't done it yet. There's these other guys. Goff, it took, Goff made a Super Bowl with the Rams, but really you could say more success in Detroit in terms of himself as a player since he got out of LA. So there are no sure things. That's for sure. We know that.
The thing is, you can't win without one. If Tennessee or Cleveland doesn't take a quarterback, I understand Carter's the better player, that Hunter's the better player, but if you don't take a quarterback, you're not winning. You're not going to win with whoever Cleveland signs, and Tennessee's not winning with Will Levis or Mason Rudolph. It's just not happening. You can't win with that one, which is why you have to roll the dice.
George, tremendous job as always. It's great seeing you. Pop in again next week. Maybe there'll be more than 3 hockey games on next Wednesday when you stop.
I doubt it.
I hope there is.
I wouldn't bet on that.
I wouldn't bet because, like you said, TNT usually has 2 games, and maybe there's one other floater on a Wednesday, but that's all. George Kurtz, Gentleman George, as always here on the grid. Carver and Lisi, Sports Grid Radio. We'll come back. A couple more things to do before we get out of here. Wild finish in this Vandy Texas A&M game. We'll talk about it next.
Giving you sports gaming strategies and information on the level that other networks wouldn't be comfortable with. We're the home of the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
One of the great joys in life for me is seeing the Sixers season implode before our very eyes on a daily basis when they never win. And they're paying Embiid the kind of money they're paying him. I've even heard people say that he's about to have knee surgery and they're going to wrap it all up. It's over. Glad bag time.
It's Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1989, the Dallas Cowboys fired Tom Landry after a 29-year career.
I'm not better. That's just my nature is not to be better. And you have to judge people as to how they operate.
Landry led the Cowboys to 2 Super Bowls in the 1970s and 13 division titles while in Dallas. But new owner Jerry Jones gave Landry the boot after a 3-13 season in '88. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and SiriusXM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi. Then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. We can't make it any simpler, Sporto. All you gotta do is listen to SportsGrid.
That's listen.
Often. Pay attention. Soon you too will have the winning edge. And your friends and family will regard you with quiet awe. See? Simple. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, SiriusXM, Channel 159. So the end of that Texas A&M Vandy game was, it took forever. The last minute and a half took, no joke, 25 minutes. It just kept going and going and going. Vandy did survive 86-84, but man, they tried to blow it. They had a couple of late turnovers. Texas A&M didn't miss any shots, and a game that really shouldn't have been close ended up being a little close. But they get the job done. Now that game went on so long that the game that's on after it on SEC Network, Kentucky and Oklahoma, there's 6 minutes left in the first half. And that game didn't go to overtime, that Vandy game. That was just, it took forever to finish it off. So really good win for Vandy. 3 wins against top 15 teams this year for them. Nice job there. Auburn won by 30 against Ole Miss. Awful job by the Rebs. Right now, Memphis up 5 on Rice. Just at the under 8 timeout in the second half. St. John's up 8 on Butler. About 4 minutes left in the first half. I just told you about Kentucky. Arizona up 13 on Utah. Utah whacked the coach the other day, so he's out. And Arizona's going to be off and running. BYU up 7 on Arizona State very early, 7 minutes in at that game. Elsewhere, what's Indiana up to right now? I didn't get this Indiana game cooking here. Indiana down 2 to start the second. They just started the second half. I do, Indiana is typical Hoosier. They beat Purdue, and then they're going to screw around at home against Penn State. Villanova in trouble, too. They're down 12 at Newark against Seton Hall at the half, 33-21. A lot of points in that game. Stanford already up 14 on Boston College. Arkansas up 10 on Texas. About under 6 minutes to go in the first half. And Creighton up 4 on DePaul. There. So that's what's going on. As far as the NBA goes, the Knicks did survive as they get the win over the Sixers, 110-105, so no cover for them. Pistons throttled the Celtics. They beat them by 20. Great win for Detroit. They've won 8 in a row. They're flying up the East standings. They might even get to the 4. The Pacers did win again tonight, though, too. They won by 20 against the Raps. And the Blazers won in D.C. So we've been tracking this Thunder net game. There is now 8 minutes left in the fourth, and the Thunder have taken the lead. So the Thunder finally have gone ahead after being down. Listen, me and Matthias, we tried. We probably, I would say, got a little too cute. We probably could have just took OKC. Minus, what were they at that point? Minus 3.5 when we did that? The Shea 35?
Yeah,
minus 3.5, right?
They were.
They're gonna cover it. They might cover the 10.5 we talked about in the first half. They might cover that. They're up 4.
Yeah.
107,
I think
103. They have outscored the Nets 17-7 in the fourth quarter. They outscored them 29-20 in the third quarter. And away they go. SGA is probably coming in now, though. He wasn't out there the last few minutes. He was on a break.
Carver, he hits a 3. He hits a 3 and he gets a 25. He could get there.
There's 2 things we need here, Matthias. This isn't dead. But a lot of guys, I'd say it's dead. With him, it's not because he's such a pig. And there's so much volume with him. He's got 22. We need 13 points in the last 7.5 minutes. We need the Nets to stay in the game.
Yeah, exactly. You know why? Because then we get some points at the line.
Well, that you need 2. And 2, you need him to just be a pig. You need him to go in and take every shot. Because if he does that, he can score 10 points in the blink of an eye. This SGA. That's why his point number is so damn big every night. What do they have him live? Let me see. They even still have it up. Sometimes they cross as a point in the fourth.
I bet you it's going to be like 28.5 or 29.
Yeah, this book's taking it down. See if anybody still has it up. Probably not. Player points, 35. They don't have it up. They don't have him up anymore. Took him down. They don't want to get burned. Hopefully he just acts like a total pig. That's the best thing that we maybe have going for us. Elsewhere, NBA-wise, Clippers are now up 7 on the Bulls, Matthias. What were they laying tonight? What was that? Was it at 6.5? Oh, 11.5 it got up to. Jeez.
Well, yeah, it was high. Clippers are playing everybody. The Bulls didn't really, they don't have anything pretty much except Kobe White. How about James Harden in the second half? I think he has 6 threes now in the game, Mike. This guy I think he had a couple points at halftime.
He's got 6
Killer
threes.
Second half. Yeah, 6 threes, man. He's going off in the second half.
He's been hitting a lot of threes lately too. He didn't he have 6 against the Pacers last Sunday? He's had a couple big.
Yeah, he had a lot.
So
some Clipper beats were saying this might be in the first half. They were saying this might be James Harden's worst game as a Clipper ever. I don't think they're saying that now, Mike. That's how bad of a first half he had in comparison to what he's doing now. Holy smokes!
All right, come on, SGA. What's going on? He's actually not back in the game yet. He's not back in the game. Did he get hurt or something? Why is he? Oh, they say the full timeout now. Let's see if they. I'm waiting on ESPN puts the lineups up, Matthias. So I'm waiting for them to put the lineup over. So he's got to be coming in after this timeout. Kentucky up 3, 4 minutes to go in the first half. Oklahoma could really use this win. Oh, they got an awful income. They're 4-10 in the SEC this year. Oklahoma, 17-10 overall. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We'll come back, wrap this puppy up right after this.
Listening to your source of sports gaming strategies and information.
We call it the winning edge.
It helps make the odds even. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal? Not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
You may or may not be a good SportsGrid listener. Test yourself. If you think a quarterback is a refund you get at an arcade, you're probably not a good SportsGrid listener.
Pay attention.
Make a plan.
Win.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. So I think there's a chance now, Matthias, that the Thunder are going to cover the pregame. Forget the 3.5. Forget the 10.5. They're up 12 now, 115-103, with 5.5 minutes to go. I mean, they have outscored the Nets 25-7 in the fourth quarter.
You know, we knew they were going to do that. We knew they were going to come back and do what they were going to do. We just thought Shea would be the guy holding the torch with 35 points in the comeback.
He's not even playing. He's not even in the game. Something might have happened to him. He hasn't been out there in a while. Let's see if we got... I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't be out there. Let's see. Let's see if we missed something. Yeah, I just think he's... it sounds like he's just on the bench. So... He's been out the whole fourth quarter, though. That doesn't really make much sense. Doesn't matter. Even if he came in right now, Matthias, he ain't getting a 35. So that's cooked. We should have. We got greedy. That was more. Me and you did like a Joe right there. You know, we made like a Joe play. We got too greedy.
You're right. We should have kept it simple. We should have caught it simple at the 3.5.
Bad job by us. NBA tomorrow, there's only 5 games. The Warriors are in Orlando against the Magic. They're laying 5.5 on the road. Magic got thumped by Cleveland last night. Nuggets and Bucks in Milwaukee. First leg, actually the only game on TNT tonight. What is going on with TNT? Only one hockey game tonight and only one basketball game tomorrow. I bet this is a soccer thing. There's some soccer that I don't know about going on, Matthias. Is there any kind of soccer happening?
What soccer? We had soccer today. We had the EPL today.
The women play in Japan at 10:30 tonight on TBS, but that shouldn't conflict with that. That shouldn't conflict. Very strange. Are the men playing tomorrow? Didn't they just play the USA men's team? Didn't they just have a game?
I feel like they had some friendly, but my God, like talk about nobody knows about it.
They must have. They gotta have something going on. They must be playing Thursday.
Gilgis is in. Shea's in with 4 minutes to go, coming in for Alex Caruso. Yeah, finally getting in the game for the last 4.
He ain't gonna score
10-point game.
They're finished. He'll get. You know what he'll do? He'll tease us. He'll get to around 30. That's what he'll do. He'll just leave us hanging close enough. As far as college basketball tomorrow night, Michigan and Rutgers. Michigan laying 10.5. St. Mary's is 13.5 point favorites at LMU. And other than that, it's a mid-major night in college rack. And you know what? Anteaters. Anteaters are laying 17.5 at Fullerton. I'm going to give you a little preview of tomorrow night's show right now. I will spend a good portion tomorrow night trying to egg Joe into taking the Anteaters. Minus 17.
Yeah, he won't do it. He won't do it because every time he's taken them, they've lost. Santa Barbara, and I can't recall the other game. Northridge it was.
No, LBC too. Long Beach State, we lost that one. Every time we played
yeah.
I am gonna egg him on. Come on, they can't possibly not cover again. That's a big number. Fullerton 6-22. Come on, Joe. We're gonna get him in on that. And I forgot to give you the rest of the NBA because I was so mad about SGA. The Lakers are playing the Timberwolves tomorrow night. 10:30 East tip. It's on NBA TV. They're laying 5.5. Phoenix 7.5 point favorites over the Pelicans. The Hornets, who have been getting demolished on a nightly basis, are getting 9.5 in Dallas. Dallas tomorrow night. Lay to lumber and let it fly for Dallas tomorrow. That's all we can say about that. There you go. Great job by Matthias Burbell. Great job by Jerry Palm, Brady Cannon, George Kurtz for tonight's Carver and sometimes Lisi on a Wednesday. Joe is back tomorrow. from assignment. I will be here as well on a Thursday night. We will have a lot to do. Everybody have a great night. Cash a bunch of tickets. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Carver and Lisi on the grid.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the tickets. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.